Spire Motorsports makes a mid-season truck change effective immediately. No, NASCAR does not have a Shane Van Gisbergen problem, but boy, are some people on the internet upset that he can't win on ovals. Welcome back to Break Hard. I'm Matt. Does everybody remember that there was a NASCAR Cup Series race on Sunday at Watkins Glen? It went by so fast that I think people maybe forgot about it. And maybe it is okay that they forgot about it. It wasn't a very good race overall, but it was shorter than both the Xfinity Series race and the Truck Series race as well, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, but they didn't have the amount of cautions that we had in either of those two races. The Jeff Gluck wasn't a good race poll. Things were looking pretty abysmal there. Can't even really spin zone it into being a positive. And maybe it's one of those races we just don't talk about. We move on and hope that things get a little bit better here. But let's get into what we want to talk about today. We're going to start off with Spire Motorsports. They made a change to their Truck Series program effective immediately. They have released driver Andres Perez from that number 77 truck. He will not return to the team for the remainder of the season. Perez, though, this isn't the end of his story. He will move over to Nice Motorsports and take over that 44 truck for the remainder of the season, with his sponsor Telcel going over with him as well. We talked about that on the Closing Laps podcast probably 2 weeks ago now, I think, at this point, that this was eventually going to happen. It all just kind of came down to a timing thing, and well, it finally happened. I think everybody had been hearing for a while that Spire was looking to downsize their truck program, and that's exactly what they did. They downsized it to 3 trucks for the remainder of the year. Who takes over that 77 truck? That would be Corey LaJoie. He is still on payroll over at Spire Motorsports, and he was supposed to finish out the season in that 07 truck, run through the playoffs with that team. That team has a win this year. They are looking for an owner's championship. Those owner points from that 07 truck will now be transferred over to the 77 truck, and Corey LaJoie will finish out the season in that 77 truck starting this weekend at Richmond and running through Phoenix at the end of the year. So it kind of worked out for both parties here. Perez gets to continue on. Corey LaJoie, Spire get to continue on as well, and they just get to downsize a bit here. Perez came over to Spire Motorsports this year after winning an ARCA Series championship in 2024, despite having never won an ARCA race. I know somewhere Brian France is shaking his fist in absolute frustration that is even a possibility these days. But Perez came over, got 2 top 10 finishes, and there's 17 races together. Martinsville back in the spring, as well as Michigan. Had a good run going this past weekend at Watkins Glen as well, but then got caught up in all of that mayhem and chaos there at the end of it. So it's unfortunate to see Perez go. I do think that he's a talented driver, just maybe not up to the par that Spire was hoping for at this point. And now we'll get to see what he can do over at Nice. Thankfully, he still has some budget behind him, so he can continue on with his efforts there. See how all of it plays out. Obviously, Bailey Curry, who was running races in that 44, will now be in that 45 truck for the remainder of the season. Connor Jones will move into that 41 truck, newly numbered 41 truck for the select races that he'll be doing this year. And I believe we'll also still see Matt Mills in that 42 truck as well. So everything kind of worked out for everyone there. I think a couple of weeks back, I talked about Spire potentially starting up an Xfinity program. Maybe not now. It doesn't really sound like they're going to. I was told yes, and then I was told no, and now it appears that no is still a no over a yes. So that's a bit of a bummer, but wouldn't expect them now to at least field their own Xfinity Series cars. That doesn't mean that we won't see their drivers in an Xfinity Series car, but I, at this point, don't expect Spire to have their own Xfinity Series program. That's how the silly season goes. And hey, listen, if I ever get something wrong, I'll tell you about it on here, because that's the last thing I want to do is be wrong. But sometimes it happens, and sometimes plans change. So let's move on to our next topic of the day, and that is Shane Van Gisbergen, the Kiwi, the road course ace that has absolutely encapsulated NASCAR. He's a polarizing figure these days, because some people love him, and some people hate him, and some people just want him to go back to wherever it is that he came from. They still don't know that Australia and New Zealand are in fact separate countries, and they aren't. He is not related to Lee Diffie at all, and he's also not British either. Just a lot of confusion happening right now. But after Sunday's race at Watkins Glen, I headed over to the NASCAR Facebook page, one of my new favorite pastimes. I went to the winners post, and I looked at the comments. There was like 9,000 comments on there. And they were exactly what you expected. Can't win on an oval. That is the general consensus amongst some of these fans. But I did decide to clip a couple of them, because that's what you got to do, right? Like, you got to take a look at what the people are saying out here. And let me be clear, this is like a subset of NASCAR fans. People that are just unhappy that this guy has come in and absolutely beat the wheels off of their favorite drivers. Just taken them and knocked their pee-pee in the dirt and made them look like fools, in a sense. I mean, he's the only driver only the second driver ever since 2000 to have 2 victories in the same season over 10 seconds. Shout out Martin Truex Jr. 2018. Now Shane Van Gisbergen has done it as well. Some of the Facebook comments, though, we have he'll be first rounded if there's no road course. There's no road course in the first round, but he's got enough playoff points that he just has to be okay in the first round. Get to that second round, win at the Roval, finds himself into the round of 8 rather easily. I know people aren't going to be happy about it, but it can happen. He can't win oval. Grammar is, there's a common theme here. Grammar's not good. Good luck on the ovals now, bud. There should be a comment in there at some point. Still can't win on an oval. Can only win road courses. One trick pony. Imagine that. Professional road racer beating professional oval racers. Now can we get back to oval racing? Well, here's the thing about that. We've had a number of professional road racers come over to NASCAR. Try it. Even in the Gen 7 era. And Shane Van Gisbergen is the only one that's been able to beat the NASCAR guys. So I think that says more about Shane Van Gisbergen than anything else. The guy is a absolute generational talent, and he's forcing these Cup drivers to get better. When Chase was winning all of these oval races, did people get this upset about it as well? They didn't call him a professional road racer. Always beating up on just professional oval racers. It is funny how the tides seem to turn and how the goalposts continually get moved. Only on road courses. One trick pony. Let's get back to road racing instead of all the road courses. I think I spelled that wrong. We appreciate self-awareness around here, even though the grammar and the spelling was absolutely atrocious. I'm pretty sure even a 4th grader with a vocab book could have knocked that one out quicker. One trick pony like Pablo Montoya was. Now, Pablo Montoya is a different person than Juan Pablo Montoya. I don't know if this person thought that Pablo was his first name or if Juan was just a suggestion that we didn't actually have to include in his name. But if you search Pablo Montoya, you will get a different person than Juan Pablo Montoya. Again, I understand it's difficult. I think if you put a ringer in other sports, you would be in big trouble. This is another way of chatting, and y'all can't see it. I do believe this person meant to say cheating and not chatting, but when you're angry on the internet, sometimes you just start firing away, and God only knows what you're going to end up saying here. I am interested in the put ringers in other sports comment here, though, because what does that even mean? Okay, I can understand it if you're like, oh, hey, we're going to take Paul Skeens and put him down in independent league and watch him just absolutely annihilate the field. All right, I get that. What is this person talking about? There's not ringers in other sports unless, of course, you're moving them down into like the minor leagues or something along those lines. Very baffling statement here. But NASCAR doesn't have a Shane Van Gisbergen problem. What NASCAR has right now is a problem where he's come in and exploited their current drivers. He's now shown what is possible with this Gen 7 car. And now everybody else has to play catch up to get to him. And they're not doing a very good job as it currently stands. We saw Michael McDowell say that it pissed him off that he's got something for SVG. He doesn't. He just does not have anything for SVG. People in the comments were also talking about how if Connor Zilic was in this race, it would have been a different story. He would have been able to contend with SVG. Connor Zilic qualified like 24th. At no point was he going to drive his way to the front and contend with SVG. Just didn't have the speed to do it. SVG is just that much better than everybody else right now. And there's nothing wrong with that. It just forces everybody else to get better. And it's not going to be something that happens overnight, right? It's going to be something that takes a little bit of time. Jeff Gordon won 6 straight road courses in a row back when they only had 2 road course races a year. So that's 3 straight years of Jeff Gordon winning road courses. And eventually it caught up to him, right? And the field got past him, and then he went on this bit of a lull. And eventually, everything's going to catch up to Shane Van Gisbergen as well. People are going to go study what he does. They're going to look at his SMT data, and eventually somebody's going to get a little bit closer. But as it currently stands, he and that 88 team are hitting on every single cylinder, not to be cliche here, and there's no touching them. Their pit crew was absolutely phenomenal. His performance was phenomenal. Didn't put a wheel wrong all day. Ran conservative lap times. At one point, even Rudy Fugle, the crew chief of the 24 car for William Byron, was upset that felt like the 88 was just playing with him because it was giving his driver false hope to burn up his equipment to try to catch that 88. And Rudy knew full well that Shane Van Gisbergen could just drive away at any point that he wanted to. That's how he's winning these races. He's conserving his tires. He's being easy on the equipment. And when it's time to go, he goes. And it's not just a couple, a 10th here or a 10th there. When he went on Sunday and started to open up his gap, it was 0.7 of a second. It was a second and a half at one point over Christopher Bell, who was in second. Bell was on a little bit older tires, but he opens up these gaps. And if you're not getting a caution, then the end of the race is there. and nobody's able to catch him. He's doing burnouts down in turn 1 when second place is crossing the start-finish line. So for all the people that are upset about Shane Van Gisbergen, my only thing is to say, hey, I guess you're going to be waiting around for another driver to catch up to him. And maybe that happens next year with Connor Zilic. But right now, going into the Roval at Charlotte, I posted the other day, going into Watkins Glen, are you taking SVG or the field? I think the overwhelming majority of people have to be going with SVG at the Roval in a month and a half time or something like that, 2 months time at this point. This guy's just good. And yeah, so what? He can't win on an oval yet. That time is going to come. We keep hearing about how he's taken away a playoff spot, doesn't deserve to be there. Well, how does winning at a super speedway make them deserve to be there? Like, no offense to Harrison Burton, didn't deserve to be in the playoffs last year. No offense to Ricky Stenhouse Jr., doesn't deserve to be in the playoffs, right? They can win on one type of racetrack. SVG can win on one type of racetrack right now. But the difference is SVG has a much higher upside with a team that should be able to compete and has competed and won on races other than road courses this year. So for now, I remain high on SVG's possibilities on winning an oval race in the future. Maybe not this year, but maybe next year, maybe the year after that. But before his NASCAR Cup Series career is over, I'd say that he's going to win on an oval. Just look at his career progression up to this point. And no perfect example other than the summer shootout earlier this year at the Legends Cars. Week 1, he was absolutely terrible. Dog food out there. Final race of the season, won. Okay, that's the progression. That's exactly what you need to see. And that's eventually what's going to happen in these Cup cars. So let me know in the comments what you thought about Spire making a midseason change for their Truck Series program. And let me know about SVG. Is he just a one-trick pony? Will that be how his entire career is? Or do you think he's going to win on an oval eventually? Like and subscribe to the channel. Follow me on TikTok at BreakHard, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at BreakHardBlog.